welcome to Advancers in Lollygagging and Friends. Apologies, we were talking politics, and now we're not going to continue that conversation here live on stream. So everybody say everything you just said. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Everything you just said.
No. Okay. Anyhow, but we're back to Alien. It's been a while. It's been like, I checked Foundry today. It's 28 days since I last logged into Alien. So, whoops. So yeah, we missed last time. We're back this time. It's been even longer for my tray, who I think we were without Chris in the previous session. So we're going to ease back in and see if we remember just what the hell. So let's do like a quick, who is everybody again, just for us, just so that we can remember who everybody's playing. And then we'll dive in. So Chuck, who are you playing?
Well, according to
Wikipedia,
my Zoom overlay, I am Scooter, the
Nice.
scootiest scoot in all of Scooterland, or I am the brother of Skeeter, and I'm also the mechanic of the group.
There you go. I mean, why not both? Let's be honest. We're all three.
Both?
Yeah,
I'll buy that for $1.
Fantastic. Melissa, please tell us about your character.
Yes, I am Michelle O'Gwyn of the 1 HP variety. Generally, she's into fitness and working out and all of those things. And currently, she's into living. That's now the new bar, is just staying alive.
I really want to say some comments right now about Melissa playing a character that works out a lot and is, but I'm not going to. But I have thoughts because we talked about it yesterday. Never mind. Anyhow, bottom row quickly. Jeremy, who are you playing?
Yeah, man, I'm playing Pete Skeeter Cotter, and I'm Scooter's brother. I'm a procurement specialist.
Excellent. I'm sure I've asked this. Which one is the older brother?
Skeeter.
Skeeter. Yeah. Okay, Skeeter's the older brother. Got it. All right. Next up, Maishrey. Tell us about Krish.
Krish is your colonial marshal who has no business being a colonial marshal. That's really all you need to know about Krish. The last time she was on screen, she punched their doctor, so really sad to pick that up.
I think you actually took a shotgun and smacked it upside of her. Hey, it could have been worse. You were right next to a cliff. You could have just thrown her off.
Got worse when Jeremy made her unconscious. It got worse.
That's right. He was trying to help and then headbutts her and knocks her out. Oh, goodness. I almost regret, I didn't at the time, but like I almost regret not rolling a critical injury for that, because that would have been hilarious if Skeeter just accidentally kills her. Like, oh, crushed skull. What the? Oh, goodness. But, you know, it didn't happen.
Wait, I got it. Let me hold it together.
Oh, boy. And then, last but not least, Adam, who you play?
Yes. Playing Jack Geralt. He is a company agent, second in command of this colony, and currently trying to make sure that everyone makes it home safe. Where'd Michelle get off to?
You guys left Michelle by herself in your rover with the woman that she knocked out and a malfunctioning working Joe android that you did turn off. So the three of them are by themselves and a rover nearby. So, you know, 3 enter, 1 leave. It's like a Mad Max thing going on here. We'll see. Anyhow, let's dive back in. Quick summary. You all, as we've mentioned before, we're colonists. You're on a moon that is somewhat unforgiving, cold, doesn't really rotate that often, has really long day-night cycles, and we are currently in a day cycle. You all have been tasked with heading out to this coastline to explore it a bit. You're looking for various resources and things like that that might be beneficial to the colony, that might be beneficial to Seekson, who is your employer. And then Jack has a secondary mission, which is to explore this sort of face that was seen on the side of a cliff, this weird structure almost on what should have been a uninhabited, or at least known to be uninhabited moon. And that is something that he was tasked with by his superior, Arthur York, the number one Seegson representative on this colony. And so you all traveled. And the last couple of days, you've been traveling in your rover. The 5 of you. You had 2 scientists with you. You had 2 working Joe androids with you. Along the way, you've grabbed some samples here and there, especially of like smaller fauna. You have like a couple of these little kind of gerbil-like things. I think you've got the carcass of one of these kind of weird cloaking type space wolves. We've come to call them. And you've seen other creatures as well. One that Chris saw up close nearly was killed by. One that Michelle saw up close nearly was killed by. And I think you also have some small little samples of this macrofauna that you recently found. So most recently, you all were exploring this makeshift hut/camp that you found along the coastline. And that was also connected to a cave system. The hut showed signs of there was someone living there and had been living there for some time. There's some evidence to suggest it was probably Lucas Martelli and Hana Al-Farsi, who are both from the Seegson advance team that set up the colony months in advance of your arrival. And you also found a bunch of like personal items and some data terminals and such. And you discovered that they were trying to keep a lot of the stuff that they were doing off network. They didn't want it connected back to the Apollo system back at your colony. And they also wanted to leave the moon. And so they were kind of looking for something that they could give Arthur York to get them the hell off this place. Now, as you were kind of going through their things and going through the system and stuff, you found lots of stuff, in fact. You found some terminals that revealed mapping and studies of the area, including these odd electromagnetic readings that were scattered across the continent. You found, Jack, some imaging of that face that you were tasked with finding and exploring. You found some pup mapping, Skeeter, as well. That it was limited, but it did show that inside that face there were multiple chambers. It actually is some sort of structure inside that cliff. And you also found some notes saying that Lucas at some point was headed back to the colony to get like gear to explore it, and doesn't look like they ever fully did. You found some information about coastal ecology, fish, crabs, worms, etc., what you could eat, what you can't eat, what things are poisonous, which things aren't poisonous, etc. You found some handwritten journals, some sketchbooks. You found this weird flute, like a pan flute that washed up on shore, apparently. You found a makeshift canoe that suggested that they were kind of going out into the ocean. You found a portable solar charger, broken personal locator beacon, and this old-fashioned compass. The hut also connected to a cave, and it had these like quarantine sheets that kind of kept it separate. And one of the reasons is because there was a lot of sulfuric gas that was coming out of those caves. As you explored the caves, you found a bunch of hot springs and pools, and it was very, very warm in here. It's the warmest place you've ever been since you've gotten on this moon. And you found, like I said before, a bunch of macrofauna in the pools that Michelle was able to get some sample of. And Scooter was able to look at some of the water filtration systems. So it looked like they were trying to separate what the materials were in here and salvage those, but also at the same time trying to clean the water and drink it. It definitely had the feeling that they were trying to live out here separate from the colony. Skeeter, you also noticed that the caves had tons of useful resources, like a lot of different coppers and metals and things like that would be very, very useful. And so your wildcatter eye spotted all that kind of stuff. While this was all happening, though, Michelle, you wandered off at one point and you were attacked by a large creature that seemed to pop up from one of the pools. It was essentially a toad the size of a bear, and it had 3 tongues that tried to wrap around you at times. Fighting ensued. Rest of the group came and sort of helped you at that point, scared it away. And that's about where we ended up. You're all safe at this point. You are still in the cave system or the hut area. Either way's fine. We don't have to be too precise with it. Krish is just outside, just down the beach, not that far away, in the rover, keeping an eye on this unconscious Dr. Morgan, the surviving scientist of the 2 that you had. The other one getting cannonballed off a cliff by her working Joe, and then this other shutdown working Joe. So there's still some things you could poke around at the hut, but you also know that face that Jack Geralt is tasked with exploring is just a couple miles up the road, or up the coast, I should say. So that's our summary. Hopefully we're all kind of back in the and sort of in the mindset for it. And so we'll pick up. You're all kind of in the area. Krish, you're welcome to leave the rover. You're welcome to be in the rover. You're welcome to all kind of intermingle at this point. And we'll say a little bit of time has passed, maybe an hour since the attack on Michelle. So I turn it to you guys.
Stress?
Yeah. So anybody who was panicking can go ahead and drop your panic. You're fine. We'll say about an hour has passed. All right. So what are we doing? What you guys up to?
So my first thought on all of this is they got a lot of cool shit in here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily want to take it, but I would like to do like a inventory.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And just make mental notes. Spare parts right here. Out here all alone. So
I
no
agree.
sabotage can happen to it back at the base.
So I'm looking for opinions from others, but what they seem to be making an attempt to make sure that this wasn't connected to the network. Can you all think of any reasons why? I think that one of the reasons would be they would want credit for themselves, but any other reasons not to just take all this back and report in with it?
Space cultists.
Yeah, there's always a chance of like some weird cult. You know, you got a face on the side of this place. That means there's probably stuff here for us. And there's always going to be some nut job who's going to be all up about that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my guess is we're not too far away from that face. And I'm going to guess you probably aren't the first person who got sent out this way seeing what we're seeing.
It's true, probably not. So,
or hell, there might even be other companies that are kind of being sneaky about it.
They could have been working for another company.
Maybe.
Might not have been a logical choice if there's something out here that could be influencing their thoughts a bit under the influence of some sort. It might not have been a logical choice. Who knows? Just throwing out possibilities.
To some sort of drug-addled decision-making?
Who knows? Could be.
See that.
But also, we've seen how these working Joes are reacting. If they were out here with working Joes, it might be any way to escape from working Joes makes for a safer day.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe the working Joes were going all crazy and they didn't want to go back to the base where there's a whole bunch of them because they done, we saw the weird shit that they do, just recently.
But working Joes, they got all that programming and logic controls in there. I mean, they're acting weird.
Mm-hmm.
I would say they're harmless until that one done did a suplex off a cliff face.
That was very frightening.
Yes, it was.
Whenever I lay my head down to rest, I do believe that image will come back to me.
Yeah, they are strong as shit and they ain't got no fear. So that's scary.
Well, we were sent out here for 2 reasons. I'd like to accomplish those 2 reasons and get out as soon as possible, seeing as how much danger we've faced already.
Mm-hmm.
So, with what we have here, are we able to ascertain what we can prospect out here?
Oh, yeah. I think we made some good notes here. I think this would be a great place to return later with maybe a mission focused just on coming to this place to harvest, so to speak. We could get a ton here. But that's
some additional security personnel, too.
Mm-hmm.
Are we at least taking some back now? Or are we just leaving it all here? Surely we have room in the trucks.
There's some data, too, that might supplement some of your exploration, Skeeter. Like, you've managed to collect a lot of stuff along the coastline with your own pups, but all this other stuff that you found in their little private network, like that definitely supplements it in terms of, like, the weird sites with electromagnetic readings across, like, that might show signs of something, but also, like, all this data about flora and fauna that they've collected, like, all of this could be extraordinarily useful to the colony.
Mm-hmm.
So we can at least take the data. Any of the material, the actual material that we would be prospecting, I would say as long as it can be easily carried, then yes, we could go ahead and bring some back in the rover. But I don't want it to be...
What do you mean material?
I mean, there's copper and there's minerals and there's plenty of stuff here that we could mine for. I might be able to look for a spot to get us a sample. I'm going to let you know, real honest, I'm hesitant to go back towards them hot springs because saw that big old frog hop into it.
Yes.
I really don't want to be near one when it hops back out.
Right. Have they already sourced some materials?
Not the metals. So you would definitely have some of the macrofauna stuff. That's not a problem. But it doesn't look like they were actively trying to mine the veins and such that you saw inside the caves. If you wanted to do that, Skeeter, it would be about an hour survival roll. You probably have some equipment because you are a wildcatter. You have your rover.
I would have the prospector talent.
Yeah, and I would say like you probably don't have to go all the way down to the pools if you don't want to. You probably could do because there was that kind of pathway that weaved around for a while. So you could probably do that too if you wanted to try to just get some basics. Yeah.
Maybe we give Michelle a chance to kind of get her bearings, and I'll take a little bit of time without going too deep in there. Are you okay? Do you need a hand, by the way? Like, I don't know how hard it is to doctor yourself, so to speak.
I'm doing all right, but I do believe if we're going to come back and receive the success stamp, as it were, on this mission, I do believe, Skeeter, that gathering up some of the minerals and whatnot that you can would probably do us very good. Because at this point, we can describe a few more things than we are actually able to bring back sample of. I can talk about the things that almost killed me, but it's not like we got bodies to bring back with us.
Okay. Well, I'll click on survival and we'll see what we get.
Okay. So while you're doing that, let's cut to Krish, who has.
Come on!
You have a lot of dice and you roll poorly, is what I'm guessing. Classic Jeremy.
That's like my
57
thing.
dice couldn't get a single success.
10 dice.
Fucking
It's
Jeremy.
the Jeremy rule.
Classic Jeremy. So while Skeeter is doing that, while Jack is maybe Jack and Scooter are going through like wood data that can be salvaged and brought, and while Michelle is just sort of recovering, let's cut to Krish. Krish, you've been in this rover. I think we did find, if I remember seriously, we did find a way to bring the rover down to the coast, so you're not that far away. The hut is kind of propped up on a series of very slippery looking rocks. The water is right next to you. You can even hear it, maybe like that a gentle coast. It's not really like coming in a way that's crashing. But you've been kind of quietly here by yourself. So you're in the back of this rover. There is a shut down working Joe. There is an unconscious Dr. Morgan. There is the carcass of one of these cloaking space wolf thingies. And maybe there are some of those small little kind of cages of those little gerbil creatures that like Scooter and Michelle were able to grab along the way. What has Krish been doing?
Krish is continuing to wait for the doctor to come back to consciousness. Like, she's actively waiting and probably has just been kind of looking at the window absently to just kind of keep an eye on like what are people doing out of curiosity and just have something to do. But she is pretty much going to stay with the doctor until she wakes up.
Gotcha. Give me an observation test while you're out here and you're peering out the window and all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
And again, you're not that far away. You're maybe 50 to 100 yards away from where the hut is. It's not that far away.
Cool.
3 successes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll say you notice 2 things, and then you're welcome to ask follow-up questions. So the first thing you notice is you're kind of looking out one of the windows. It looks out at the water, and I described this a little bit to them, but when you look out there, you see there's not like these big waves crashing. There's occasionally like in some of the islets and stuff in the water, you can see foam popping up here and there as it does, smack into some of those rocks. But for the most part, it's kind of a gentle, steady current. And there are times though where you can see maybe 100 yards out, like what almost looks like this cascading electricity in the water. It just looks like you're just watching like a thundercloud, but it's in the water itself. That's one thing. And so maybe you're watching that and you realize maybe a half step too late or a half second too late that the ground is moving around you, and you start to notice that all those little tiny little crabs that you saw back when you were a couple miles south of here, where you had your incident with that giant jellyfish-like creature, but you can see they're moving around all over the place around here, and they're starting to like crawl over top the rover a bit. You don't notice anything currently coming inside. Nothing's kind of peeking or getting or sneaking in any of the crevices or seams of the rover right now, but you definitely see that there's like a big swarm or two that have started to kind of poke around and look at this rover. And so and while you're looking and maybe jumping from one window to the next, you hear the sounds of as she kind of sits up a bit, and she's got this big old welt. I'm sure it's been dressed, and she wakes up, and she looks. Dr. Morgan looks out, and she sees it's just you in here with her, and she immediately kind of freezes and starts to kind of fall back a little bit towards the working Joe, which is not functioning. What do you do, Krish?
I know you would rather not wake up with just me here, but this is what is happening. Are you okay?
And she like reaches up and touches her head and feels the bandage. Alive, it seems. Unless you have other ideas.
I'm glad you're okay. Where I come from, if you knock someone unconscious, it's the right thing to do to stick around and make sure they wake up. So,
how noble.
Glad you're up. Yeah. So Jeff, my signature item is a dented flask.
Okay.
Is it empty, or is there like some shitty booze in it?
I'm fine with saying there's basically like engine, like some sort of like moonshine that the colony makes.
Okay,
you know?
okay. So she'll pull out her flask. She'll pull out the flask, and it's got some like initials engraved on it, and not Krisha's, and she'll give it to the doctor. It's like, take a drink of that.
She as you offer it, she doesn't do anything initially, but then as you like continue to,
it's gonna taste like shit, but the world will be a little better after you take a drink.
Really tentatively reaches out, grabs it. She almost feels like a caged animal in a way, and as she kind of like recoils a little bit and then starts to sip, and immediately
just choke it down. Take a drink, choke it down. Just
are you
choke it
trying
down.
to poison me now?
Just take
prefer
a drink.
just a shotgun. And she just
I
starts to
actually
cough.
don't know where my shotgun is.
Maybe it's back where my partner is.
Well, maybe. Probably not, though. Listen, I'm safe. You're safe. I'm not gonna tell you not to tell Artie about this. I'm not gonna... whatever. If you're gonna have to fill in a report, the last psych eval I did, they called it, like, trauma bonding or something. So, I don't know. Well, I'm glad you woke up. Anyway, we should move the rover. Yeah, no, listen, I take 3 shots every morning before I start the workday. It just makes everything go a little better. Just choke it down, you'll be fine.
3 shots of this before you go to work as a deputy colonial marshal.
That's what I said. You're a doctor. Do you
that explains
need
some
help
things.
hearing? Okay. We need to move the car because I don't know if you can feel that, but there's things coming. There were things coming before too.
As you mentioned that, And as she now looks, she hands you back your flash kind of gingerly, and she kind of looks at it a bit, like eyebrow quirking at the dent, eyebrow quirking at the initials, because I think she knows your name. She sees either her initials, but she since you brought it up, she'll look out the window, she'll peek, and you can see as she moves, you can tell she's waking up. She's probably got a concussion, so she's like moving, and she looks a little bit out of it. But when you look at her looking at the window, you can see like the window is half covered now with that swarm of crap. It almost looks like there's just like a caking of mud over top of this thing. And your vision outside is less than it was just moments ago when you first noticed them.
She's gonna get on the hand comms and see to everybody like, doctor's up, we need to move. There's something, the crab's coming towards the car.
Anybody not in the caves would get that. Anybody in the caves, it might be a little crackling and stuff. It might not come through clearly. So Skeeter, you might not quite hear it. But anybody else, like up top in the hut, you would get that clear as day. And so you hear Krish come over comms.
We're a little busy right now. Skeeter's gone off to mine some resources.
All right, I'm gonna try and drive the car then to just another location.
Okay.
Away from here, and I'll let them know when the hand comes. That's what I'm gonna do.
Give me a piloting test and take a -2 on this.
I have a 0, so this is gonna.
Okay, so you can still roll 1d6. Still roll 1d6 on this, and so
okay.
And this isn't about moving it. It's about moving it in a way that isn't going to kind of screw it up. Because you can drive a car.
Michelle,
it's just a question whether you accidentally drive it into the water, or whether you accidentally smash it into a rock, or drive it off
Michelle
a
will come on
cliff.
again and say, "Wait. Did you say the doctor is awake?"
Yes.
Oh, is it safe for me to come out to the car? It's still going to be a while for everyone else, but I can come and attend to the doctor.
Yeah. Yes. Wait. Can you hurry though?
Yeah. And I realize we sat for an hour, which means I'm
bring
back to
my
full
gun.
house, so
bring my gun. I've Miss Carleray. I need to see her.
And Michelle just looks over to Jack. Her gun?
The only
One
gun
of
I
you
know
took
of
my shotgun.
That shotgun you done threw in the water.
Because someone took your shotgun and then dropped it, and then we left it somewhere.
I think you recovered it. I think Skeeter got the shotgun.
The shotgun. The
Skeeter,
handgun I left.
That was at the bottom of the cliff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so
give me a
Skeeter's
second.
got it.
I'll find it. It's somewhere. Let me just hold on.
Yeah, Skeeter, I think recovered both that and Scooter's laser, like the laser cutter thing he's got. So, which Scooter I'm sure could have taken back, but we'll say Skeeter's got the shotgun.
Michelle.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to be able to bring you the shotgun out because Skeeter's got the shotgun and Skeeter's in the mine. But I'll be out. And she kind of looks over to Jack and Scooter. I'll be out there.
Michelle, as soon as it gets to a point where we should go and fetch Skeeter so we could so we can leave, please do let us know so that we can go and get him.
Yep. Got it. Michelle nods. Yep. Got it. And then she's gonna take off.
Sure.
Thinking that she's been sitting for a while and she kind of feels better. And then as she starts to move and she's like, oh, damn it. Oh, ow. It hurt a lot. She was really, really injured. So she's complaining a bit as she moves her way out.
She does the classic make a lot of noise as she gets up.
Mm-hmm.
God, I want to say things.
Going by yourself.
Were you talking to me?
Yes, I was. Are you sure
Sorry,
you should be going by yourself?
It's not that far. I mean, you can walk me out if you would like.
If you step outside, you could see.
Just stand right here, and you can just watch me right there.
All right.
All right, Michelle.
Okay. Do I have your permission to go? Okay.
All right. You step out.
Speed
You
walks.
look and you see that the rover is basically half covered with a swarm of these crabs. And they're moving about. And it's very clear. Like they're on it, they're moving about, and there's hundreds of them.
So who would we say grabbed the notes about the coastal ecology? Who would we say has those notes? Because that was something that we saw when we were looking through stuff. Because I would like to look through that and see if there's anything on the crabs and what the crabs don't like.
So, in terms of who took it, I'm not entirely sure who took it, but you would have seen or read that those crabs are very dangerous actually. And there was a note in one of those journals that if they bite you or if you eat one, you basically feel cold from the inside out for days. And that Lucas was apparently laid up for a week, and even the vents inside of the cave system couldn't warm him up. It was just like this some sort of strange poison, is what she sort of suspected it to be. And they're not big. They're the size of like maybe a $50, and then the legs maybe a little bit more. And that's basically essentially how big they are. But there's hundreds of them. They're just swarms of them.
Yeah. So she is going to look for something that could make like a little torch. So she basically wants to try like wave a torch at them and open the door and see if that like scares them off.
On your inventory, do you have anything? Would you have anything on your inventory that would work?
No, I sure don't.
Okay.
I'm hoping that there's something in this area.
So there's probably something. There's machinery. Like there's machinery. You also know that Scooter has like a cutting torch and such, and there's other machinery. So there's potentially, but like right here in your immediate area, looking, you don't see anything. So it would probably be something you'd have to get from inside or ask Scooter for help.
Scooter, you ever trust anybody else with that there torch thingy?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, I got 3 or 4 more of them back at the base, and I mean, the company bought them anyway, so.
Do I gotta know like heavy machinery or something, or is it just like a point and pull?
Hey, you just point and pull the trigger. It's like a gun that just goes like 4 inches.
Got it. Thank you.
You got it.
Appreciate it. So she's gonna take this little torch thing and see if she can scare him away from the door so that she can.
Okay, so you go up to the rover, which I don't think Krish has moved yet because I haven't seen the pilot roll. So I guess you're waiting for Michelle. So you take the torch and you go up to them and you start kind of using this to try to herd them away, get them off the rover. Give me a mobility test as you do this. And let's negatively modify that by 1, in fact. Okay, never mind. Just so excited. Just so excited to read.
Sorry, I'm like, I get to roll.
No, it's fine. We'll live with it. It's okay. Go ahead and read what just happened.
How does it never feel like my panic clears? Like I clear panic and then
it was cleared, but I think you got it again because the stress has to go down. Like your stress could have gone down a little bit. I think in the hour you would have had it go down a couple points.
That's right. I wouldn't have been the stress 6. Perhaps I should do this over again.
Okay, so let's go ahead and just reset that, and you can go ahead and get rid of the panic. Drop your stress by a little bit, and then
stress?
That's fine. And then give the roll again with a -1 because there are a lot of these things, and they are swarming.
Okay. All right, -1. There we go. There we go.
Okay. Nonetheless,
sorry, Scooter.
You are able with the torch to light it up and you start firing it, and you're very carefully and somewhat nimbly moving along these kind of these the rock, the sand, etc. And it gets some slippery parts here and there, and at a certain point you kind of slip and you fall, and it looks like they're about to swarm over top of you, and you start just firing crazy in a way, and then eventually you watch as that cutting torch falls out of your hand, because it was in your hand, and they swarm over top of it, and you hear it crunch and pop. You see the liquids, the fluids inside of it begin to spurt out, and they seem to just swarm on top of it. So the bad news is that cutting torch has just been effectively destroyed. But the good news is that, Krish, the rover does seem to be clear. Sorry, Chuck.
That's all right. I mean, you gotta break some omelets to get a rover away from a crab.
That's true.
Gotta break some omelets to make an egg.
So, Krish, you just see like the door open, and she just sort of like launches herself inside and slams it behind her.
Okay, and so since they're no longer on top, you can see again, like the windshield and stuff is invisible. So no roll at this point. Now you can just essentially drive away and realize you're not going to drive into the water. You're not going to drive into the rock, and you just peel out and you move a little further up the coast and away from this now swarming mass of crabs that is eating this torch through which all of like the various like battery and like fluids or whatever the hell it's loaded up with. It's just sort of spread out, and they're going to town on it. So you do notice, you probably would realize, Michelle, that they're only going to probably be satiated for so long. So there might be a time limit to how long their interest is going to be with this thing before they start looking for something else to feed on.
She's gonna share that with everybody with Girlton Scooter.com, because presumably Skeeter can't hear her still, as we moved the car, but probably don't have a whole lot longer before we have to move it again, so hurry the fuck up.
And Scooter, I do apologize. I owe you a torch, but it saved my life. So,
all right.
Fallen, much appreciation to that.
Yeah,
The crabs are eating it. I don't know what that means.
That's new. Okay.
Yeah, very, very concerning, but they left the car alone, so it was real useful. Super, super useful.
I'll definitely call out to boss man over there, like, if them crabs are eating my torch, maybe we should make like a tree before we have to get out there and they try to eat us.
I think that's a very good assessment. I do want to do one thing first, though. We should get out while we can, and we should go to this face cave.
Listen, I've rarely heard words put together more exciting than face cave, so let's do it to it.
All right. And also, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what she was saying about a torch going missing from inventory. I'm sure that you'll take care of it in your reporting, correct?
It's you know what? Those torches, those are, what's the thing you call it? They're expendable. I don't know. I mean,
More expendable than a life. Not that I'm part of this conversation. Just saying.
Collateral
somewhere I
damage.
was thinking.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is, I don't think I heard what had transpired.
Oh, okay. You're saying I ain't got to do no paperwork on it. I appreciate that, buddy.
You didn't hear that from me.
I didn't hear nothing from you. I was over here doing the work that you asked me to do very diligently.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of work being done, I think we should go and interrupt Skeeter so that we can make haste.
Oh man, I was just about to make the biggest haul you ever seen, but that's okay. Lives matter. I didn't fail. I'm just backing out at the request of the boss man.
So we'll say you have like some things, but it's not like if anything, it's trace. Like there's maybe at best like trace mineral, trace stuff in there, but you've seen it, you've observed it.
I think it's cowardice. Like every now and then he thinks he hears something from the pool and he steps back a good 20 feet.
Okay. So we'll then say that you all hurry out of the hut. you get back into the rover. You take a few things with you, like you were saying before. Take some of the reports, take some of the data that you got from some of the terminals. Anything else, you're welcome to say. But otherwise, maybe you leave most of the machinery behind. But all the data stuff you probably take with you. That's easy enough. And then we are back on the road. Is that fair?
Yeah.
All right,
Skeeter. I assume you're driving, or is it? I think it's your rover, right? Yeah. Go ahead and give us the drive test.
So we have had time to bring our stress down a little.
Yeah. So you've had, I'll say, between the time in which the fight happens, probably been about an hour and a half. So you're looking at, like, in terms of turns, what is that? 6 turns effectively. So you can essentially reduce that amount. Up to that amount, I should say.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, nice.
Right.
Anybody who has been panicking can go ahead. Can go ahead and reduce that as well. And don't forget, you have like your little items and things. Like if you need to push your stuff down even further, you're welcome to do that as well.
Okay, I don't think I'm panicking. Okay, time for drive.
Okay, give us that roll.
I just looked at the face and I saw exactly what the roll was.
Dear God.
Yeah.
You're still rolling too many dice. You're still doing things you're
I need to face punch a space wolf, which I'm terrible at.
There's
and
a
I'll
dead
be
one.
fine.
Yeah, get down in that 2 to 3 range, and you'll be
Yeah,
goddamn juggernaut.
I roll 3 successes on a single dice.
Okay, so basically, the way this is going to manifest, this failure is going to. It's not like you can't drive the thing. It's just going to be you take the worst route possible. Maybe you stay on the beach, and it just becomes this really, really sluggish drive where you're only trying to go like 3 or 4 miles, but it feels like you're trying to go 30 or 40, just because more than once you get stuck. Someone has to get out, set you all free, and then you have to like get going again. Then you get stuck again. Then some of the treads, they fall into some of these rocks along the way, and you have to kind of repair them. And so it ends up being a couple hours worth. That's of importance because by the time you actually get to where what you have on your location, like you have the map location, it has been effectively a full day since you guys have rested, and so the light hasn't changed. It's still relatively bright out, but in terms of like your tiredness, like you guys are getting to the point where if you push it further, you're going to be exhausting yourselves. But you do eventually manage to make it to where you have on your kind of your radar, your mapping. And when you get there and you look up, you realize the cliffs have grown in terms of height. And so the whole way here, they've been like 300 plus feet or so, and they've grown even further and further. And you feel them just getting bigger and bigger and taller to the point where you stop being able to actually see the top. There is this like marine layer, this fog layer that starts to roll in, and then you just have trouble seeing all the way up to the very top of them. But at a certain point, you spot it. And I'll say, Jack, you're probably looking for it. Everyone's, I'm sure, looking for it. But Jack, I know you're particularly interested in it. And you start to notice a shift in the way the rock works on the cliff, where most of the way it's just like these vertical, rough rivulets of rock. It's just like whether it's granite, whether it's limestone, you're not sure. But it looks pretty standard. But then at a certain point, you start to see it kind of smooth out and round out. And even though the fog is obscuring some of it, you do notice that the idea of this being a face is really, really accurate, because you see a massive one, and it's carved into the stone. It's carved into the rock. It's as if somebody has sanded down and carved away this cliff rock and has made a relatively smooth face. Now it's mostly featureless. Like you don't see like any suggestions of blemish or wrinkles. It's just these kind of empty, dark recesses of eyes. And you see what looks like a large open mouth and a very kind of bland bump for a nose. It doesn't look like it's particularly well defined. Now, the mouth looks to be broken as well. And you can see it's kind of like a cave opening, maybe about 30 yards up off the ground, or 30 feet up off the ground. But you also notice the mouth, like it suffered some damage, and it looks like it's gotten wider. just from observation, you could probably put like side by side, like 4 or 5 rovers and drive into that space. That's how big this thing is. And that's what you just see for free. Anybody who would like to, anybody who is looking, go ahead and roll an observation test, but it's going to be modified -2 because the fog is really kind of obscuring your ability to see the whole thing in its totality.
I would say that Michelle is paying attention to this doctor and like cleaning up her head wound and all of those things and trying to kind of reassure her a little bit. So I would say she's probably not the first to see this, or one of the first.
Sorry, I rolled up my -2.
Okay. Okay, so do we have any passes so far? Okay, Jack. So
Got 2 successes.
Excellent.
And I rolled stress, and I'm keeping it together.
Okay. I mean, maybe it's not so much stress; it is like excitement, you know, in a way, like the of actually finding it, the excitement of discovering it. So, Jack, what I'll just give you for free, and then we'll do the specific by the book thing with alien extra successes. You can ask a question if there's something you want to ask. But the extra thing you notice is that there seems to be this sort of pattern that it seems to be kind of blending the face and the rock, the standard rock, together. And you see this kind of spiraling or this sort of tendril-like movement. Like there's some kind of substance that seems to be on top of the rock layer that weaves out of the rough-hewn rock over top of the face and kind of spirals around in this sort of weird pattern. And it's almost imperceptible. Like you have to really kind of focus on it, and you have to look at it from the right angle, especially if the fog is covering and it's not letting any of the suns, I should say, kind of glint down on it. But you see it from time to time as if there's like something caked on top of various portions of this massive face and then the cliffside. But then you have an extra success if you wanted to ask a follow-up question.
My question would be if it looks like a working Joe face or not, but that's just me because the Joes have been acting so weird here.
Did you pass?
In case you were looking for... No, I was just throwing ideas out for what the other question could be.
So I'll tell you this. You look at the face and you look at the working Joe faces. Working Joe faces lack the kind of like kind of perfect human replication the way that, you know, the David models and some of the other models do, right? This thing also has that kind of just as bland features. It looks like a human face, just with all of the aspects of a face that would normally distinguish one person from another. So like there's no hair, there's no eyebrows, there's no eyeballs, there's no, like, it's all very symmetrical looking except for that chunk by the mouth that's broken. So Michelle, in some ways, yeah, kinda.
So with this face, except for the broken mouth, is there any signs of weathering at all on this
sculpture? You would think that this is like, because it's not a perfect color, so like you can see the rock that's been smooth isn't like this perfect singular color. It definitely shows signs of weathering, of water damage, in some cases maybe like erosion or like salt like from the ocean itself kind of caking here or there and kind of causing some discoloration. So for sure
how
you
long
see that.
And how long has this colony been here?
This the advanced colony got here a couple months ago. You all got here a couple days ago.
Okay.
That's like, and by you all I mean everybody who's now part of the colony. And as far as you know, according to York, your superior in the Seekson, this is not a colony that has seen any, you know, no one's been here before. Like they've done some basic surveying and stuff like that, but a lot of the surveying, the advanced surveying, isn't like done by people going down the planet. It's done by remote systems, and then the advanced team comes, kind of sets up the colony, and they send people out. So you don't think that there should be anything here, but yet there is.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this is signs of advanced life. definitely before we were here. I know that.
Yeah, but like, who?
Well, I don't know. With the way the face is, I would suppose they're either that they could possibly be our ancestor. The odds of evolving to look the same like this? I don't think so. Perhaps we weren't. Our life didn't come from Earth. Like he's just really, really like
Making
out
big
there,
jumps.
you know. Yeah, making big jumps. Yeah.
Michelle's just looking at him like, what the hell are you talking about?
You know what?
Well, think about it. Two separate
I don't
planets.
think there's a face there. I think it's just some weather balloons and swamp gases.
I mean, so Scooter, you saw things that were underground.
Yeah.
Like under, and this is kind of under, like it's in the under. So is it quite possible that perhaps those in the surveys that were done just didn't like penetrate far enough underground to sense the life here?
Well, I mean, the person I saw underground was a person. Unless you're talking about them creatures that you done stole all my thunder on.
Oh no! I mean, the face out there isn't a face of a space wolf, right? It's the face of a human.
Well, think about this though. How long have we been traveling interstellarly, if that's a word?
It is now.
For a period of time that Michelle would know and Melissa doesn't.
At least 3 weeks.
I just don't think that it could have weathered to this point in the amount of time that we could have reached here, even if it was done in secret.
Are you like eyeing a big promotion with this discovery or something? Because you are like pontificating on all sorts of things that are well above our pay grades.
I am pontificating, yes, but I am also concerned.
I mean, like...
We're going to go inside, right? We're going to leave this vehicle and we're going to go find a way to go inside that thing, right?
That's
what
we ought to be doing. What are we doing? Just sitting out here and speculating about what this is.
That's what they sent us across the galaxy.
Bring back
for.
samples.
No,
I want y'all to just
look.
Go
well,
out.
Are we going
space.
mouth or nose?
Look, the
like
more
to go
stuff
nostril.
I do, the less stuff you all do, which means the less paperwork I have to do when we get back.
We could drive inside it.
No, you
it's
can't.
30 feet
it's
up. How
30
are we
feet
getting
up.
the
Oh,
car
I see. Okay.
like size-wise, we could fit. But there's this gravity thing while we're pontificating on stuff.
No, Adam as the player didn't put that together. Do we have the proper equipment to ascend?
Now, clarification. It was, did you say 130 or 30? Like, how many feet up is it?
It's like 30 feet off. The mouth is about 30 plus feet off the ground. Okay. The cliff face is probably 500 feet in height or something, maybe higher.
Going 30 foot up is a lot different than going 130 foot up. Yeah, I mean, let's just get the cable off the winch and throw it on up there, lasso around a molar, and we'll just shimmy on up.
Yeah, getting up's going to be hard. We can set up, have an easier return trip, but that first trip up's going to be the hard one.
Yeah.
Well, I am feeling much better than I was earlier. I can take the lead.
Somebody had pups, right?
Mm-hmm. Skeeter did. You do have pup data too. You know that there's at least 5 large chambers in size. So you already kind of have that basic data. Like there's like inside that. The other thing is, because of how long the drive took, you guys need to sleep. So you can go in, right now, and you would take the exhausted condition, and that means that you can't relieve stress, and you effectively have to make a stamina roll every day that you go without sleep. And if you fail, you essentially fall, collapse into exhaustion, etc. So, or you could just sleep for a shift out here and hope nothing terrible happens to you.
We could take shifts. Can we?
Yeah, I was gonna say I vote for shift sleeping.
Yeah. I mean, listen. We know there's angry crabs coming out for us, like down here. But what if we just like get into the mouth and take a nap on the tongue?
Oh, that's where you want it. You don't want to take a nap inside the safety of this here vehicle. You want to go all the way up there and take a nap where someone can just come up and kick us off and we go,
so we don't know what's up there. We know what's in here.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Is there enough room in this vehicle for us all to actually rest?
Not comfortably, but you could do it.
Do you just want to say that you went to sleep on the tongue? Is that just what you're wanting to?
I mean, not until it was that question was brought to my attention, and then I don't know how I couldn't.
Well, the way I see it is if we have two people stay up and they could sit in the two front seats, that would leave enough room for 3 to rest, as I'm motioning towards the other doctor. And perhaps we could sleep more comfortably, and we would also have 2 sets of eyes in case someone starts nodding off.
All right. So we do shifts with 2 watchers.
Mm-hmm. I volunteer for first.
I'll take first. You can take first.
Take the last.
I volunteer for taking a nap first.
I was going to say, I would like to take first or last.
I would also like to nap first. It's been, not that we haven't all had a day, but
I'll take the second shift then.
Okay. Can I have each of you then roll a D100? You can just roll it in Foundry. It's fine. This is just purely like a luck random type of check.
Who is each of you?
All 5 of you.
Okay.
Man, I got a 007 and a 009. Look at this.
And a 003.
And a 003.
Holy crap. Rolls?
There's 100 numbers you can pick, guys. Jeez.
No, teamwork. Let's all stick together.
Wow.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Okay. So
all
Jeremy
of you passed. Bleeding over.
Effectively, all of you passed your luck test because 1 to 50 is a pass and 51. So all of you rolled under 50, which is pretty amazing. But I'm gonna give it to Krish then because Krish rolled a 3, and that's the lowest. So during Krish's shift, you're doing in 2. So who is on Krish's shift with her?
I'm on the middle shift, so
okay. So Skeeter, I saw Jeremy raise his hand. Okay, so Krish and Skeeter, both of you can get this. So while everyone else is sleeping, you hear some snoring, etc. You hear the gentle sounds of the ocean, and honestly, that might even help your sleep to a degree. You notice something, and again, above you, there's the fog layer. It kind of rolls around. It moves relatively fast. It doesn't linger. It's not like it's all around you forever. But you do see it linger to the point where you can't see the top of the cliff. Now, Geralt mentioned probably how he saw like another substance kind of caked over top of the cliff and over top of this sort of carving, we'll call it, right? While the 2 of you are watching, you see it kind of flicker and suddenly light up. And Krish, you see it kind of start to cascade, not unlike the water. When you were in the rover a couple hours back, you and Dr. Morgan, you're looking out the window and you can see what looked like lightning in the ocean, the way it is in the thunder, or excuse me, in the sky. And as you're looking upwards once or twice, you see it kind of happening again. And as the fog begins to clear, you realize it's not actually happening in the fog, but you see whatever that cake substance is kind of flickering, almost like it's flickering lights. And it creates a very clear kind of spiraling pattern. And you watch these different tendrils from, think of it like a clock, right? So like all the different hands of a clock, and they kind of weave in this circuitous fashion down the side of the cliff or up from the ground. And they all seem to converge at that broken mouth area, and they kind of push inside. And you see that's just kind of flickering on and off, like these lights pop on and they pop off. This bioluminescence like flicker on and flicker off, and for a good 15 minutes it does this, and then it goes dark. And both of you will see that, and I need both of you to go ahead and roll go ahead and take a point of stress, I should say.
I'm so fucking happy we didn't sleep on that tongue. Point of stress. Oh shit.
What the hell was that? Should we tell? We should tell everybody.
I mean, let them sleep. We're just gonna sound like a couple crazy assholes no matter how we explain it, so they may as well be well rested when we tell them.
That's true.
Otherwise, we're going to sound like crazy assholes, and also they'll call us assholes.
I mean, they're probably going to call us assholes anyway.
I mean, yeah, but like we actually would be. And I'm fine with being called an asshole, but I try not to be an asshole.
Gonna roll the rest.
I have also been known to lie.
And she'll chuckle and pass him the flask that is almost empty.
It tastes like paint thinner?
It tastes like gasoline. It definitely does.
No, I
be kinder to yourself. I'm gonna buy you a bottle. Actually, I confiscated a bottle of good stuff.
I think the conversation devolves into booze.
Okay.
From there.
Yeah, man. I used to have this. I used to make me some good hooch in the can. He'll tell her about his recipe for prison wine.
Amazing. And she's completely enthralled.
And so we'll say that
when we get back.
We'll say that then the night passes, or the sleeping passes. Everyone's going to go through it. The other shifts don't notice anything irregular. Once or twice, maybe you see like that kind of electricity cascading out in the water, but that's the worst of it. That's like the only thing kind of out of the ordinary. Otherwise, it's all very, very benign. And then eventually you all get a full shift of sleep. No one's exhausted. You can reset your stress, except for Skeeter and Krish. We're going to leave that stress so that it sits. But the rest, everybody else, your health is good, your stress is good, and you're rested. So what do you want to do? It's maybe 8 hours later, something like that, we'll say.
It was a great night's sleep. Any uneventful? Yeah?
Yeah, uneventful for my shift.
Skeeter and I saw something.
We are going to want to fucking hustle and get in and out of there before nightfall comes, or however this whole time scale works, because there's some sort of bioelectric bullshit that comes in there, spirals around, goes into the mouth, like as if by design, and it is messed up, and I don't want to be in there whenever that comes, because it'll probably come back again.
It started looking like electricity, and then it moved to something else, so it's at least made of electricity. Whatever it is.
You're telling me that during the night, that face on the rocks done swallowed up a bunch of electricity from where?
From the ocean and then the sky.
So it swallowed up a bunch of electricity from the ocean and the sky, and didn't wake any of us up to see it?
She looked over and Skeeter. Like, I fucking told you, you asshole.
Your dumb ass would be sitting in there, hooked to a crisp, laying on your fucking tongue. You pissed off I didn't wake you up to see the electricity.
Listen, I'm just saying, it sounds like a story because y'all were jealous you didn't come up with my idea.
Yes, that is exactly
Sleeping
what
in
it
the
is.
tongue.
So tell me about this a little bit more.
You pointed out that weird shit that's caked on, kind of
Yes.
like in patterns of some sort. It is like, I mean, hell, I don't fucking know, but it's almost got like the makings of like a circuit.
This feels like something that might happen again at nightfall. So if we're gonna fucking go, we need to go now.
So-
Yeah, I agree.
But it'll happen at nightfall because
We think it'll happen at nightfall. We only saw it once.
Y'all
Right,
not,
but-
night didn't come to this planet, right?
Sorry, say it again, Chuck. I didn't hear that.
We're on a tidally locked planet. There's no night for a very long time.
Oh, right.
Be a couple
if
weeks.
ever.
The goal is
Yeah.
for you guys to get back from this trip before night falls.
So it's
So we just know
it's
that
been
it
light
happened.
this whole time.
Only once while we were all covering our shifts. It only happened once. So
That
yes,
you-
it was light
that you
out.
observed,
Between
yeah.
now to whatever, however, like long that is, like, I don't know, 16, 17 hours or whatever it is.
And
I mean-
I look towards the face. Is the fog still around it?
Yeah, fog's ever. It's not even just like it's not like it's especially lingering around it. It's just you're off. Like you're effectively like off San Francisco. Like that's what it is. It's
okay,
like this
all right.
marine layer is pretty thick,
So,
and it's still around. Yeah.
so this fog has it been the same the whole time?
It's a question for Jeff, but I thought it had.
You didn't notice anything particularly special about the fog. Really, what it just was with those like kind of snaking, caking bits like on the wall that kind of flickered. And the only time you really saw anything with the fog was when those things were kind of flickering, and that might have drawn your attention. But once you looked, you realized it wasn't the fog that was doing anything. It was just helping amplify like the weirdness of the moment. That's all.
Yeah,
So
but
perhaps. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, it just like a whole bunch of things all fit together in a weird way to me, because this feels like something that's almost like a circuit board sort of nonsense, except it's a bioelectric circuit board. We've seen turtles that are basically just look like they're made out of rocks, but they're moving on their own. But what if it is more than just rocks? And they speak in that weird little radio thing, which is just another form of energy coming out, and that energy messes with our robots, you know, and not just like a whole bunch of things all fit together all funky. It makes me nervous.
It's a pretty good working theory.
As you guys are talking,
so can
and
we-
you mention that, you look back and you see the turned off working Joe suddenly lights up, and that weird
See?
cackling electrical thing that you've
I
heard
heard it.
pops up and then
Don't like it.
immediately shuts off.
I turn towards the scientist and I say, "You been turning this working Joe back on?"
Dr. Morgan looks at you and she says, I've left it as you suggested, Mr. Gareth. Still turned off after what it did to my partner. I don't have any desire to turn it back on.
Thank you. So at first I was wondering if it may have been caused by the sun, like if it was solar powered or something. You know, the lines on the face. But if the fog hasn't cleared up at all.
So we should try
Well-
to climb up and gather a sample
Yeah.
of that substance. Yes.
Yes.
Maybe let's do that on the way out.
I
Just in
feel
case.
like we tend to run out of places on a quick and then we don't actually have time to do that. I mean, I see your
It's gonna
point.
shock me. I'm being honest.
But
Well, perhaps if we look at it closer first before we harvest, then we'll have a better idea.
And also, I was thinking, like, I've already kind of had the pup go in and in general get the idea of like what rooms there are. I'm halfway tempted to kind of have a camera set up to be looking at the face, that we can just every now and then check back on that camera. If we get any signs that it looks like it starts to crackle, we know to book it out.
It's a wonderful idea.
it's a great plan.
I don't
Are
want
we
to die.
leaving this Are we leaving this vehicle now? We've been cramped all in close like for a while now.
Would really like to.
Yes. Let's.
Okay. Are you bringing the doctor with you? It's entirely up to you. It's your NPC. She's more than happy to go with you. She's more than happy to stay. Like, she's still injured. Obviously, she suffered a back concussion. Then you have this working Joe. So do you leave them out here? Do you bring her and leave it? What do you do?
I wouldn't want to leave her alone with the working Joe.
Okay.
Agreed. Bring her, leave it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm worried this thing's going to bust up our vehicle while we're in there, but...
You want to leave it on the beach?
The vehicle or the Joe?
The Joe.
Yes.
All right. Well, we can lay it next to the vehicle. Hopefully it doesn't get up and wander off.
I'd rather that happen than it messes around inside the vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm there with you on that one.
All right,
All right.
let's hoist.
Yeah, we take the doctor, leave the Joe.
Okay. And you're, did I hear correctly? You're leaving the working Joe outside the rover?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're tying it up and leaving it on the beach.
Okay. Fair enough.
Using the
And then
winch
you-
cable to wrap it up real tight.
Yeah, give
And
it
then I just-
plenty of
just
toys to play with.
narratively, when the doctor mentions, she has no desire to turn on the Joe, Chris kind of wordlessly pulls out her flask and just hands it to the doctor, like pushes it at the doctor.
She takes it and she looks at you. 3 drinks, was it?
Yep.
And she takes 3 shots. Coughing and spitting, and then hands it back. And she's like, I don't see how that improves things. But gives it back.
Give
to you
it like
nonetheless.
20 minutes.
I think I'm going to be dead in 20 minutes. All right, so I need everyone then to make a mobility test as you try to climb up the 30-foot cliffside.
Oh, I passed.
I'm going to push my fail.
Gotcha.
Yay, pushing out a success.
Okay. Did anybody fail? Oh no, Krish. Krish failed, I think.
Did. I failed. My panic was keeping it together.
Okay. You failed,
so you
though.
can't push.
But
Skeeter did get an extra success. So Skeeter, do you want to use that extra success to help Krish?
I do.
Okay, so
Please,
describe what
thank
happens.
you.
How this happens. It looks like Krish might fall and you have to kind of help her.
Skeeter is very much like, he's the guy that brings the winch. He's not cowardly. He's well prepared. And he's, what the fuck are you doing? Shit. No, you always plant your feet first. Jesus. Oh my God. And it's like this really awkward, like grabbing you by your like shoulder or something and like trying to pull you back up.
oh, so
What are you doing? I'm not climbing back down for you. I mean, I might.
hey, Skeeter.
Maybe you shouldn't be taking 3 shots of that nonsense.
Nobody asked you. Nobody.
Well, you should drink something better.
A little. And she says that.
No, you should drink the good shit whenever you're about to go risk your life. That's what I'm saying.
That's a really good idea.
Taking that hard stuff, I mean, you ain't afraid to take a shot of that. You ain't afraid of nothing.
Are we just having a chit chat on the side of this here cliff face? Is this what we're doing here? Or are we just like
It's good for morale.
looks down?
I'm sorry,
Okay.
I get freaked out whenever somebody nearly falls face first or death.
Chris, did you almost fall?
No.
Sounds like you
should
almost
go.
fell.
No,
What
no.
have I told
Nope.
you? And she's very much based on 80s, like, you know, like little like grippy strength thingies that they had.
Yeah.
Like, so I have told you that you need to work on your grip strength, and I do not think that you are doing those exercises. I have told you
No, I
will get
am.
you another. I don't. The evidence does not show that you have been doing the exercises that I told you that you need to be doing. When we get back, 25, twice a day.
I have been.
I don't believe you.
All right. Well, once
So
we get up
this-
top, I'm going to set up the winch so it's a much easier climb back down.
So 2 things. All that chastising that Michelle just did over Krish is literally inside the broken mouth of this as you have reached the top. It's 30 feet up. Secondly, the winch was used to wrap up the working Joe. So there is no winch to create. So you guys have to climb back down. So
I
it's only 30 feet
your
though.
winch.
Yeah. But
Worth it.
nonetheless,
I don't want to mess with that working Joe. I'm
but
scared.
nonetheless, there we see like Michelle chastising Krish, like Skeeter
Just
helping
back
Krish up.
to the inside of this thing.
Jack and Scooter, both you give me observation tests since you are involved in this sort of kind of cattiness and you might be doing other things.
Observation. Oh, I got 2.
All right.
Too.
Okay. First thing, both of you notice, because remember, all of those like weird patterns that were flickering kind of snaked and converged and then went into this giant kind of mouth opening. And now that you're standing here, you look at it, and the two of you, as you're staring down, you hear like the almost like Peanuts, parents and teachers like talking behind you as the two of you are looking at this, and you realize it really just looks like ice. It just looks like you don't really see anything else. Doesn't look like there's any cables or anything in it. It just looks like kind of somewhat dirty ice. It's like, it's white, a little bit of blue and gray, but it's just ice. And you can see that not only does it converge here, but as you look down this long, ridiculously dark tunnel that appears to immediately shift downwards, like maybe 10 feet in, you think it continues to coat and go down through there. And you can see it skating off some of the walls or snaking around on some of the walls here and there. It never kind of creates like one singular sheath anywhere. It just continues to look almost like cables that are kind of attached to the wall, to the floor, to the ceiling, and it just goes down this huge throat. And then with the and then the other thing I'll give you guys, and you're welcome to ask follow-ups, is that you, Scooter especially, would notice this. When you look at the opening of the mouth, not the broken parts, but the parts that are still intact, you see machinery. Like you see what looks like at some point there might have been some kind of door that could have connected to here. It's the type of thing like a hangar door or a compound door. You see the tracks and stuff. Like the design looks different, the engineering, like the materials of it all, but you see the residue of that machinery.
Okay, so like there was machinery installed in it and not that it was created using machinery.
Yeah, you're pretty sure that this opening was built.
Well, it's exciting.
Well, just one moment. I have an environment suit on, and so I'm going to place the gloved hand on top of the what looks like ice. And after a little bit, I should be able to tell if it's cold or not.
Oh, it's very cold. Yeah, you get it pretty quick, actually. Like within a heartbeat, like you can feel like it's very, very cold.
It is cold.
I mean,
So it could
looks
very
cool.
well be ice.
But wait, the thing that was being all electrical is water and ice?
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that they can't have found a way to send photons through ice, whoever these people are. But
Like
yes,
a big, dirty fiber optic cable.
right. And we don't know the composition of the ice either.
Also true.
And they built a door? Like a garage door?
A hangar bay.
It certainly looks like the sides of the walls. They're not rock. Like you can see like there's debris, but it's some kind of compound. Like Scooter, if you look at it and you like kind of poke it, whether with a finger or with a tool or something like that, like it's a compound. Like that, you're not sure what the materials are. It doesn't look like clear metals or whatever, but it's something. Maybe a special compound plastic, or you're not sure. But it's definitely a lining to a hull.
Transparent
Is it
aluminum.
smooth or is it like terrain?
it's undulating, so you can see like there's definitely, it's not like flat, but there are places where it's definitely smooth, and then there are other places where it looks like, you know, like a almost think of like how molding works. It's kind of like that, where you'll see these spots where it looks like there's like a bulbous run of things for a bit, but there's huge sections where it's smooth.
Okay.
Like, can we? I don't. So there's someone who has been here long enough ago that they built this tunnel. For what purpose? Like a launch tube?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Listen, I really didn't want to buy into Jack's thing of like space aliens, but like,
Oh, I think we have
aliens,
discovered
man.
advanced civilization.
Can we
I know
take a
it's-
sample of this stuff? Of this wall stuff? Can we like?
yeah, let me just grab my cutting torch and I'll melt off it. Oh no!
I am so very sorry. I had every intention of taking very good care of that thing, and it saved my
That's
life.
fine. I lost it once too.
This is the hallway where we saw the electricity come into.
Yes. You can
Yes?
see
Okay.
the snaking of multiple, like, I'm just going to call them cables, even though that's not what they are, but that's what they look like. Cables of this thick run of ice, and they all converge here, but they continue to push inward into the compound. Like, you can see them on the walls, you can see them on the ceiling, you can see them on the floor. All of those things coming from outside that were sort of pushing in through this broken mouth are continuing down, like, the throat, so to speak, of this structure.
Krish has her shotgun out and is probably just like following that, just kind of absently and out of curiosity, and only kind of paying attention to the conversation.
Sure. Do you all progress in and down? Because it is a downward slope.
so
So long as there is place that isn't made out of ice. So like, I don't ever want to step on ice. And if anyone is getting close to it, I would try, if I notice it, I would try and keep them from ever stepping on it.
Sometimes you have to step over top. Like, each of these cables, so to speak, of these runs of ice are about, I don't know, maybe 3 feet or so, and like it's in diameter around. And so like occasionally you have to step over top and kind of move about here and there. And then many times like they're just running along the side of the wall, or they're running along the ceiling, but there are some on the ground, and you can avoid them. Like, you could definitely avoid them.
So, I mean, does it look like they were hand put here? Like, is it, or do they look not natural? I guess that's
looks
what
like
I'm trying to say.
It truly just looks like ice. Like, they're not
Okay.
smooth. Like, it's definitely like this. There's sections of smoothness on the ice. There's sections of, you know, some sort of angular ridge, or where it maybe have been shaved down a bit. It honestly just looks like ice.
Okay. All right. So then, yeah, we'll keep going. Does it seem like with the grade of the slope that, you know, it would be very difficult to get out of if we needed to turn around?
It's about a 30-degree slope. So like, if you were coming up, think of it in those terms. Like you're going steadily uphill. It's like you're spending a lot of time in San Francisco again. I keep coming back to that. Like, very hilly, but you could do it. Like, it would be, you know, it would hurt your thighs for a bit.
Okay.
Some of you might be breathing heavy by the time you got to the exit.
Okay.
yep.
Jack, you're
Okay.
right. You're right. We definitely shouldn't step on the ice as we go. But I think if Krish is wandering off in that direction, we should definitely follow, because we know what happened when I went off
Definitely is.
myself yesterday.
Okay. So I'm gonna say Krish is out in front because she's already started moving down. The rest of you are following. Do you all have light? Like, I
Yeah,
know some
I
of
got
your
a
suits and stuff. So whoever's got light, just let me know. I do kind of want to keep track of this. So And I'm fine to say if it's on your suit, that's okay. I just if somebody's got like a specific, like a high beam flashlight or something, that would be useful.
Yeah.
I figured that like Krish probably just has like one of those like shitty little lights like on her uniform, but like
yeah, like on the shoulder thing that you can just shine out. Yeah,
exactly. Like if that
I'm okay
doesn't
with
make sense to have, then
I'm totally
it's
fine with
not. It's not something that came with anything that I have, so I don't actually know.
It's one of those things where like you guys are part of a colony that has equipment. I have no problem saying that you guys took stuff. I just kind of want to know now who do we think has it, and then like that's who has it. And then
I feel like it makes sense for Krish to have it as part of her standard gear.
Okay.
I got
Anybody else?
light,
Think of such
and I
thing.
brought it from home, so I ain't
Okay,
sharing mine.
Okay, Scooter and Krish have light.
We can't use the light. You cover it, so only you get the benefit of the flashlight.
Puts it all on the side so no one else can see. Close your eyes.
This ain't your light. This is my light.
Okay. So I got Scooter and Krish. Anybody else want to make a claim for something? Okay,
Nope.
so that's what we'll say.
Nope.
2 people with light, and you guys have it, no problem. And so you work your way down. Along the way, it is this hallway or this throat. It is enormous. Like it is as wide as the opening, and it continues in that shape. This sort of ovular shape. It's not like a perfect oval. It's a little bit flatter on the bottom than it is on the top, but you can see it maintains it all the way down. Periodically, you all see, again, the ice kind of weave here and there. It's stationary. It's not like actively weaving, but you see it move around. And you see occasionally what looks like some icicles and some other frost form. Along the way, Scooter, especially as like a mechanic, someone sort of versed in this, you see like what you think are panels, maybe like auxiliary panels. But every time you come across it, everything just looks a little different. Like it just doesn't quite have that kind of engineering. And I'm not talking about the difference between like Seegson and Wayland Yutani. Like there's continuity there. Like everything just feels a little bit different, a little bit off. There is a certain point, Krish, you're out in front, where you, as you're shining your light down, it moves across. You move like you do a sweep from like one side across the middle, across to the left. And you notice as on the right-hand side, as it comes past something, you see that the light, as you sweep down towards the middle, still lingers on the right-hand wall of this tunnel. And you see this flickering display of symbols. And it lingers for a moment and then flickers and dissipates. But you see it out of the corner of your eyes. It's unmistakable. It doesn't require an observation test. Like you absolutely saw it. It was there.
Sorry, Jeff. Can you just say that again? What I stumbled across?
You're out in front. You've got your light, and you're doing like sweeps from one side to the middle to the left side. Right? You're just kind of going back and forth as you're moving slowly and methodically down. As you move it from the right side wall to the middle, you notice at the corner of your eye that where you had just had the light on the right-hand wall, there is this sort of display, this very brief and very faint but noticeable flickering display of symbols, and then it disappears.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I understood correctly.
Sure.
I immediately kind of whirl back because I'm like, did I imagine that? And I'm gonna go up to the wall and just kind of touch where I think I saw the symbols.
And the rest of you are right behind her. You watch Krish move off to the side, and you see this, not unlike what Scooter was mentioning, except when he saw panels, it was kind of the same material, that weird, unidentifiable compound plastic. When you come up, Krish, you can see what looks almost like a frosted over section, and underneath part of it, there actually looks to be something a little bit like a display. Like a flat display. And as you kind of poke along the wall, it gives, like it has like this, it's not steady, it's not hard. It actually gives ever so slightly. And as you release your finger, you see just the very faintest bit of light kind of linger behind after you press. And then when you shine your light across it, the same thing. You see these symbols appear, and then they dissipate almost immediately, like it's dying, like it's running out of juice, so to speak. But it is some kind of display. It's like a display of some kind.
Krish, what are you doing?
Behind the ice.
Behind a sheath of ice. I mean, it's not fully covered, but a good chunk of it is covered in ice.
Okay, so in answer to Michelle's question, there's a live display back here, and she takes the butt of her flashlight and tries to break the ice.
Easily done.
Or a gun, sorry, because the light's on.
Break. Everything shatters. It's thin. It's maybe a quarter of an inch thick at most, and you just crack the ice, and it falls and shatters onto the ground. And now you have free access to the full totality. Think of it like almost like a flat screen television, right? And it's maybe about 4 feet wide by about 3 feet tall. And again, anytime you shine the light, you see it almost kind of reflects back some of the light, like you shined on it, and those weird symbols pop up, and then they fade away.
Is there
Oh my gosh, that's
anything
huge.
recognizable about the symbols?
No. I would say you have not seen these types of things before. I mean, it has. I mean, it almost looks like the type of thing somebody might like a teenager might get as a tattoo for the first time, like because it's got that kind of quality to it.
Weird. Right.
But that's about it.
Sorry, Melissa, I totally talked over you. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, I think Michelle's just noticing what you're doing, and like at first I was sort of picturing it was like a little thing, but like that is huge. And like,
What the hell is this?
what happens when you shine your? Who else? Scooter, can you shine your light on this too?
There's symbols. Did anyone else see the symbols light up? I saw them. I saw them twice. I thought I was imagining something, and then I saw them a second time.
I didn't see it.
And my hooch isn't that strong.
Yes, it is. Two things. Give me a wits test, Jack. Just straight wits, no skill.
Okay.
The other thing is like when you're near it, Krish and Scooter, if you come up behind, it's high. So like you're really just kind of touching the bottom of it. Like, but the rest of it is much taller. You know, so like you would have to almost kind of get on your tippy toes or get someone on their shoulders to reach kind of the top of that panel.
So it's like a solid,
hung.
like okay.
Yeah, it's hung fairly high on the wall, but
And
you can
is
reach
that,
it with your hand. Yeah.
Typical for this, like, are there other displays in this area?
It's the first time you've seen this, but
Okay.
Scooter did see a couple like wall panels. It almost looked like there were scenes in some of the wall along the way, and similarly, it was fairly high up.
High up, okay.
Okay, thank you.
You know, it's probably something like, I mean, it matches the height of them wall panels that I saw a while back and I didn't tell anyone about because I didn't bring a screwdriver and I didn't want anyone to ask me to open it.
Wall
Maybe.
panels.
So whatever made this is at a height that they would be able to use, because that is very high up from our height.
Let's not jump to conclusions. You're talking about a very tall person. How, if I were standing on the ceiling, like, where would this come to on me? Like, maybe we're dealing with bat people.
That's also a good point to bring up.
So the height of the ceiling is, again, it's arced. At its uppermost point, it's probably 30 feet to 40 feet in terms of its uppermost apex. And I would say at its lowest point, it's maybe 25. So like there's like kind of this arc over time.
It's
No.
not bat people unless they're bat skateboarding people, and that just don't make sense.
I've seen this
So
before.
it's wait, what? You've seen this
seen-
before?
Well, not this exactly, but I was shown something prior to coming out here. It was on a cuneiform tablet, but yes, I think that in an abundance of caution, we should report back and we should bring more people. We're in a precarious situation, and we now know how to get here. We found that there's evidence of advanced life.
Yeah, but like, there's still more deeper to go.
There
Exactly. And we've like the best way that we bring back information is we see the thing, we figure the stuff out, and then we go back and we tell them, hey, look at all the stuff we figured out.
Listen, I've been working in this industry long enough to know that no matter how cool the thing you find is, the first thing they're going to ask is, what else did you find? So if we go back now, we're like, we found a giant face on the wall that eats lightning once a day, and we went in and found a TV that was turned off. They're going to say, what the hell? Like, what else was in there?
Imagine
It
if you
was
were...
hanging. It was a hanging.
Right.
Scooter has just an amazing way of taking the weird and alien and just making it so easy to understand. Just
Right,
really accessible description there.
So before I say what I'm about to say, was I given any further instructions besides locate this and make sure we can get back to it?
Just explore. Basically, just explore it. Like it's essentially what it is. Like
Okay.
Like what is this? What is this site? Learn what you can about it and report back. Pretty much that.
We say, something that knows absolutely nothing about electronics and wires. And you start discovering it, and you see these wires, they look like they're in the way of something. So you cut them. And when you cut them, you get electrocuted.
Did any of us say we were going to cut wires?
I was going to say,
We're
that
not
was the
cutting
follow-up
wires.
point.
Right. But
We're just going to touch stuff.
all I'm saying is we do not understand this technology.
I know. And how smart will we look if we can figure it out and then go back and tell them that we figured out how it works? I can get on somebody's
I'm gonna look
shoulders.
real dumb if I die.
I mean,
Ah.
that's just
I have a bad feeling
a
about
day
this.
of the week that starts with the letter Y. I mean, it's going to be the same. either way.
Exactly. That's what we're here to do. We're here to do all the stuff. All right. Jack, I'm not gonna get on your
while they're
shoulders.
arguing, Chris is like shining the light on the screen at different angles, trying to get the symbols to come back on while they're
They
discussing
do.
what to do.
They do for a little while, but you notice like diminishing returns. Like each time you shine it, it gets it fades more and it fades more and fades more, and then after a while, like you start shining the light, and it just it no longer
same
reflects.
symbols every time?
Depends on where you shine the light. If you shine it in the same corner, yes.
Okay.
If you shine it across, you can see like there's symbols in different places.
Okay. If I have any kind of notepad or anything, I'd love to try and make some draw what I think I'm seeing, or make an attempt at drawing what I think I'm seeing.
Do you think Krish would have a note like a physical notepad on her, or would she just like rely on her like data pad?
Datapad.
I was thinking, like, who brings a notepad? We all
Yeah,
got
no,
space
she
smartphones.
especially Krish. No.
So yeah, I'll say like with that, you do your best to sort of like either sketch one or two, or just describe the shape, like the serifs or the lack of serifs, that kind of thing.
Michelle looks to Scooter and Skeeter, and she's like, all right, who of y'all's shoulders am I standing on? Because one of the things is going to get pushed.
I can do it. Yeah, not a problem. Wouldn't want Skeeter to throw his back out.
So Michelle's going to like
Okay.
climb up on
I'll lift
Scooter's
you up, too,
shoulders and
like
get hoisted.
By the time you get up
make a
there,
Sheba.
Krish has shined the light a bunch, and by the end of it, it's no longer reflecting. And so as you go up there, Michelle, and you start like pressing it in various places, nothing happens.
Well, that was disappointing.
It you can feel it kind of give, like it has almost like a liquidy quality to it. Like it's like you can feel this pressure of it, but nothing seems to respond to you now.
So, well, I mean, so we know that when it's dark, it doesn't appear to do anything. But maybe the ice cable things are bringing like light from the outside, and then it lights up here, and then when it's lit up, maybe you can push the things and it does the thing.
I shine my flashlight on a nearby ice vein. See if it does it. I mean, like electricity, just fiber optics and
Okay.
engineering.
Roll
Smart.
a observation test, Scooter,
You got it.
as you do that.
2.
2. You shine your light into what looks like a run of ice, and you do see like there's like a dark patch, and as you're like kind of shining, you could it's got a reflective surface quality to it, and you see it kind of takes it as you move the light away. It sort of looks like your silhouette is in that section of the ice, but you don't see any like reflective symbols or anything like that, but it does seem to like perfectly contort that sort of silhouette to your bust, your head, your shoulders, etc.
I don't know what it means, but like I was just trying to light up the display using an ice cable, but it did a thing.
Well, and I'm sitting on his shoulder, so it's just like
Bang your
weird.
head on an icicle, fall down, it falls on top of you, you're dead. Boom, done. There you go. You can play Dr. Morgan.
all right. Well, so Chris, you got some of these symbols? We can keep going farther in.
Yeah, let's go find another one.
Okay. Continue to descend. Krish lights up. I'm assuming Michelle gets off of Scooter's shoulders or not.
Do I have to make a roll
For what?
if we teamed up and we Voltron the rest of this dungeon?
Do you have to make you would have to make a stamina roll probably. Yeah.
All right.
If you want to give her a piggyback ride.
2 successes.
Okay. You are able to, without any trouble, put Michelle. Aren't you like a very slender, like 80s aerobic instructor? Isn't that?
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, she's like a feather on your shoulders. It's no problem. But the two of you, that's how you go down. And so Michelle, you get a very good glimpse. And so I'll say, Michelle, one of the things you notice is there appear to be tracks in the ceiling when you look up. Interspersed evenly across the entirety of the ceiling. And they go from down deep where Krish is heading all the way back up, you presume, to the exit where the mouth is.
Scooter, can you pass up your light?
Yep,
You can hand it
don't
to
lose
me
this
if you
one.
don't want me to break it. And so
I
she's
wasn't
gonna like
throw it up. If I throw it up down to my head,
it's gonna hit you in the head. So Michelle is gonna like shine the light on the track so that everybody can
Okay.
see.
And so you
in
see
both directions.
that there are tracks on the ceiling, evenly spaced, that go all the way down to where Krish just went into the dark, and presumably go all the way back up to the exit of the mouth.
So when you say tracks, do you mean like foot tracks, or tracks as in something runs along it?
The second one.
Okay. Oh.
I feel you.
I'm sorry.
shit,
That's
there
right.
really
You guys
are
thought
bad
there was
people.
Batman people. I forgot. My bad. I should have clarified. Good question, Adam. Very important
I
question.
just thought I got real right.
There are Batman aliens everywhere. You guys are screwed.
Oh god!
Batman.
Evenly spaced walking steps.
Yeah.
Imagine that you come around a corner and it's just like I'm Space Batman.
We got space wolves.
We got space wolves, space turtles,
space snakes.
space Batman.
Michelle passes the flashlight back to Scooter so she can't break another of his possessions during this expedition.
So they run something along the top. Oh,
Well, and there's, I know there's the door on that side. Like, again, it's sort of like launch path kind of a thing. Or maybe once we get inside, we're going to find a cable car that runs.
I mean,
along.
if you got an uneven surface, you got to move cargo on tracks above. Make perfect sense.
That's a lot of engineering. That's here.
We
In this
engineered spaceships to fly us to an ice ball across the galaxy. I mean,
well, no, I know that. I'm just saying, like, previously uninhabited is supposed to be the designation of this here moon.
someone did
that
a
is
bad
not-
job of deciding that.
This is not uninhabited. This is very inhabited and engineered.
I
And
wouldn't call it inhabited.
It-
Dehabited, maybe?
like was habited.
Mark. Yeah.
Okay, while this conversation is happening, for Michelle on the shoulders down to Scooter, Chris, you've pushed forward, and eventually the slope flattens out. And like it's like kind of a scoop. And when you start to shine your light forward, you realize more and more it's struggling to find surfaces to reflect against. And you realize that this has opened up into a massive chamber. And you start shining your light up, down, left, right, and it's a while before it hits things. This is enormous. Eventually, straight ahead, you do see that there is something maybe, I don't know, 100 feet or so ahead. And it looks like it's partially kind of coated. You watch as those kind of those tracks of ice, those runs of ice kind of come over top of it in some way. And you shine ahead. I mean, it looks like a vehicle of some kind. Like it looks like a ship. It's kind of horseshoe shaped. But as you're shining your light on it, Chris, like you realize like it's not on. There's no power in here. There's no blinking lights. It's just you standing at the base of this incline, shining a small flashlight into this massive chamber. Skeeter, a couple feet behind you. You hear the voices of Michelle and Scooter up ahead or up behind you. Krish, and I'll say Skeeter, if you're there, both of you can roll observation tests as you look inside.
Oh man, that's amazing. Krish got this.
Okay, 3 for Krish
Yeah.
and 1 for Skeeter. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So both of you notice, obviously, in the middle of this massive chamber, there is a vehicle. It is horseshoe shaped, so you can see it kind of loops around. You would put it at about 30 or 40 feet in terms of height. It feels like rounded off along the sides. But more than that, I'll say, Krish, one of the things you notice, as maybe Skeeter is seeing dollar signs appear in front of his face, Krish, you see as like these like cables of ice continue into this massive hangar, and a few of them seem to converge on this ship. And as you're shining the light across it, getting a little closer, trying to get a better look here and there, it almost seems like there's spaces where that horseshoe has been crushed or constricted, like a snake might constrict its prey. And it almost looks like it's just kind of crunching that vehicle in places where you see whatever the surface is made out of is just pinched here and there. You notice that there are some like vents and paneling and stuff where some of those kind of tendrils of ice literally feed into the ship itself. In terms of size, you would peg this as like shuttle size. You know, it's not as big as the ship that you were on, but it is roughly the same size as the shuttle that you guys came down to the planet, to the surface on, if that makes sense. But it looks like no design that any of you would be familiar with in terms of engineering of the ship.
So I think walking up here and realizing that we are entering a very dark and very open space where light is taking a while to hit the edges makes Krish reflexively slower her pace a little. So just a be a little bit more aware of her surroundings. And as they get close and see the ship and the fucking crunch of the thing that's obviously bigger than the ship to be able to crunch it, she sort of immediately reaches out to Skeeter and like grabs his arm and stop. There's something here. Or there was something here.
Oh. Hey, we just like find a way to peek in. Just
no, not just you and me, And she's gonna start backing up and very firmly pulling Skeeter along with his
Just give me a second to logic it out.
No.
Like a shuttle.
We're gonna come back.
Where'd something go in her?
She's shining her light on like the crunch part. I mean, like, Do you see that? Look at that.
Yeah.
Look where my light is, Skeeter. Do you see that?
I do. Maybe that ripped an opening that we could get into.
I think we need to, at the very least, wait for everybody else.
Okay. I'll say, as you're backing up, you bump into Jack. Like, Jack maybe is right behind you, and you can still hear the voices of Tweedledee and Tweedledum in their little bumbling fun people coming down a few steps behind Jack. So all of you together.
Wow.
And,
as I look
Chris
towards
will
the emptiness.
relay everything that she just saw, including the crunch.
So the ship is not any of our companies? It's not?
Doesn't look like anything I've even heard about before.
Listen, I understand that we're all very excited, but
No, some of us are very excited.
well, I know I am,
Well,
but
I'm turgid for discovery.
This is quite the find.
it is. I am just concerned with finding something that has been long abandoned, or maybe not. Long abandoned that we can tell, and it would be
Do
like
we know that
discovering the
it's long
pyramids for the
abandoned?
first time. I could only surmise by the weathering and everything. No, we don't know it's been long abandoned. But I would assume if it was actively inhabited by now, they would know we are here.
Krish is looking around very nervously, like really not comfortable with not knowing where the edges of this room are.
Okay. I'd say if you start doing that, you find some of them. Like, eventually, it's an enormous hangar. Honestly, it kind of looks like a hangar bay. You came down this throat that is not unlike maybe a chute. It kind of shoots these ships up or something like that. And so you kind of start theorizing the engineering of it all. And eventually you start finding some, but it is enormous. Like you're like, it's like you're walking around in like a professional sports stadium. Like, it's that big as you're moving around.
Are there any noises apart from our voices?
You hear a lot of echoing of your footsteps and your voices. And occasionally you hear like a little something like crunching, but nothing like electrical. And as you're moving about, you find, in addition to this big ship, you do find other things as well. You find like there's looks to be a couple places that you think might be some kind of control panel. Maybe it's not shaped in anything that you've seen before. It's sort of circular, very high. You realize like the countertop like almost hits your head in terms of its height. And you think, as you kind of peek up and look, like there's this sort of flattened, almost liquid-like display, not unlike what you saw on your way down, but it's very high up. There's other places where it looks like what you would presume is some kind of tool or equipment, like for loading and moving stuff around, like a crane here that's fallen down to the ground. A lot of these things you see are kind of coated in this sheath of ice. Other stuff isn't. And you do find other ways out. So you do find what looks like these large, very tall passageways that move in different locations. Now, assuming you're in communication with one another, Skeeter, you had some mapping data, and you do like this. This isn't necessarily a surprise. You look at that mapping data, and you start peering in, and there is like a chute that goes down. There is these 5 huge chambers that seems to be interconnected, and you can see that there's these small little pathways and such in between them. So it's like this is kind of tracking a little bit with what you've seen on the data itself that you got from not your own, but from the hut that you found down the beach. What was everybody else doing?
We can go farther in? Is that what that means? We can go farther in? There's even more to explore?
Listen, I can respect the fact that you're like, let's go farther in, but allow me to interject something else. There's a spaceship. When you park a vehicle for long enough, you just leave the keys like underneath the back thruster. How cool would that be if we show back up at the the camp in a space alien ship?
That would be amazing.
All right,
However,
let's
I
go.
don't know if we can figure out how to drive it safely. I'm pretty
You
sure
just
we
follow
could
the
get
tracks. The tracks are just built right in. You just follow the tracks, and the tracks go all the way out the mouth. Like it's made for it.
I'm sure that we could achieve
No,
liftoff.
those
It's
are
the landing.
lines.
I'm just saying, I'm just reflecting on her energy. That's all.
You really think it's just like you flip the visor down and the keys are like right there?
No, I said they're behind the back thruster. Like you go back on the back of the ship, under the back thruster, they got one of them little magnetic boxes. hide up underneath.
That I see what you're. I mean, hopefully that wasn't crushed by one of those ice tentacle things, though. You think it's still in drivable condition?
Only one way to find out. And I mean, if it's not, we get in there, we fire up its computer boxes, and then old Mr. Jack here, you got the biggest promotion in the history of forever.
All
Scooter,
right.
If you want to try to climb up, you can see, like, again, it's like a horseshoe shape, but you do notice, like, in the interior, like, curve of the horseshoe, does seem to be like the equivalent of like a bridge, but it also does seem like the ice is kind of contracted it here and there. But you could potentially climb up if you want to roll a mobility test to get a better look.
Yes.
There we go.
I would say Michelle is not on your shoulders anymore, by the way. I think once we came
Let's go
Stuck
explore
here.
some more. Oh, this is dangerous. Never mind, I'm up.
I done stapled your
I mean-
pant legs to my shirt. You stuck.
I'm not saying I won't follow. I'm just saying I don't want to like fall off.
So out of my
That's so
2 dice that I rolled, I got no successes. So I'm gonna push.
Okay. All right.
I'm keeping it together, but I don't succeed.
Here's what happens.
Oh,
Scooter, you start to climb up, and
Yeah.
it's a rounded, smooth exterior, so it's hard to get a grip. But you do find that some places where it's been constricted and crushed, it makes it a little bit easier for you to grab some handholds and footholds. And a few times, like you slip because there's this sheet of ice. Eventually, you find yourself like 1 foot maybe onto this chunk of ice, 1 foot onto the ship, and then you kind of climb up here and there, and eventually you notice that there is a tear in the exterior of the ship, and you can see into it, and you see that the interior of the ship is very dark, but as we've established, you're one of the people with light. Kind of shine a light in, balancing yourself as best you can, and you see that there's some kind of like pilot chair, you think. And it looks like it's sort of veered back a bit. It's not like sitting upright the way like some
Like
of
a
yours
lazy
are, but it's
boy?
kind of, yeah. And you see like going into that tear are a couple of these these kind of ropes of ice that have constricted, and you can see they've fed inside. And you see that one of them has just sort of fanned out and appears to have almost like a hand kind of gripped the chair. And so you can see it splits off into these frayed little bits, and it's on the chair. And when you look, you can see that there is a body in the chair. It is humanoid. You see what looks like legs. You see what looks like arms. You see what looks like a head, but it looks like it's been... It looks emaciated. It looks like it's been sort of drained of its flesh to a degree. Its musculature has shrunk down. It looks very, very shriveled. And it looks like it's partially coated. And it also looks about 8 or 9 feet tall. And as you take a point of stress for that, all of you feel a rumbling in the floor, just rumbling, as if there's something underneath the floor, just this rumble of a floor. And that's when, Scooter, you slip and you fall. And you land on the ground. And you can go ahead and take a point of damage for that as you fall and smash into the ground. The whole floor continues to hum and kind of tremble completely in the dark. You hear the sounds of something in the distance, maybe whoever's near that ramp going out, you hear, and then this loud echo down that ramp in the direction of the hangar, as if something maybe closed or shrunk or something a little further up the ramp that you just came down. And we'll end there, and we'll pick up on that next time.
Okay.
Wow.
Somebody close the door behind us.
Found a corpse.
Maybe.
Yay!
You found a corpse.
We got space.
So many more.
Space jerky.
It's true. Space
It's not
jerky.
cannibalism if they're not human.
That's right.
Okay.
Learn that with half.
Oh my gosh.
It's true. It's not. That's right. It's not cannibalism. It isn't. You're fine. It's not cannibalism if you eat a chicken, so why should it be cannibalism if you eat space jerky?
That's it.
I don't know. Anyhow, but we'll pick up there next time, and you gotta go from here and see what happens. See who makes it out, and that'll be it. And who makes it back to the column.
All of us, of course.
Yeah, right. That ain't gonna happen. All right. So I'll go and do some closing plugs and we'll get on out of here. Thank you, by the way, Lost Caravan RPG, for the raid there at the end. Go follow them if you haven't already done so. They make awesome stuff. Let's start with Chuck. Chuck, what's going on with the finished Kobold?
Let's see. Wednesday, we've got our Night Below campaign using Dungeon Crawl Classics. Friday, we're doing our Pathfinders 2nd Edition campaign. And that's it. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. My Trey, tell us what you do and where we can find you on the internet.
I am Multiplays Games on YouTube, where I make system agnostic tabletop content that centers the GM and player experience. They check it if you want to check out.
Fantastic. Links for everyone's stuff, by the way. If you're watching this later, if you're listening to this later, check the notes and such for the show, for the episode. You'll find links to everywhere, including Cannon Otter Studio there. So, Adam, what's going on with Cannon Otter?
We are moving along at a great pace on Teenage Odyssey. We finished dev editing, and it is in layout, and I just received a look at it. I haven't had the time to look at it just yet, so I'm excited. I'm ready to give feedback. Let Chuck see it too.
I already saw it this morning. You're a day late and $1 short.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you saw it. But yeah, I'm excited. So if you want to talk about Teenage Odyssey, don't know what it is, curious about it, or just want to relive the 1990s as preteens, or experience it for the first time, you should check it out. Come join our Discord.
All right. Fan-freaking-tastic. As for us, next game, probably tomorrow night, Frontier Scum, Steven hops into the channel, or hops into the GM seat. He's running us through that Acid Western game. Thursday, we're off this week. Normally it would be Simba Room, but we're taking it off this week. Friday, we'll be doing some Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory. We have a giveaway going on right now for Warhammer. If you hop into our Discord, you go into the giveaway channel, you drop a comment about Warhammer 40k, like your favorite faction or like your favorite video game or something like that based on the property. Or if you're one of the people who reads the novels, one of the novels or characters you like, just drop a little comment in there and you get entered into this contest. And on Friday this week, we're going to give away a copy of Redacted Records 2, which is a supplement for Wrath and Glory, which is the game that we have been playing that Aaron has been running us through. So go hop in there and get a free book. It's awesome. Saturday, we're going to be doing some Call of Cthulhu, where I shot Melissa, and it was really fun, and I nearly killed her, and it was really great. And then I shot Ashley, and I nearly killed her, and it was great. And then Maitre ran like a chicken. No, I'm just kidding. No. So come hang out.
I get lost.
Get so
all
lost.
the time.
Like, just picture the John Travolta meme. You know, he's just looking around. That's Krish in Mexico City, and then or Shima, excuse me. And then Monday next week we'll be back to Fragged Empire as we alternate every Monday between Alien and Fragged, and you can catch us playing more Alien in 2 weeks. Also check out the YouTube page for Adventures in Lollygagging for all of our other games. And that's that. We're going to go ahead and pay the raid forward. We're going to raid Blackwater D&D. So follow that raid. Have a great rest of your night. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.